You walk into your kitchen one day to find it in total disarray. You decide to start filming, documenting it for evidence, when out of the corner of your eye, you spot a hellish face peeking out at you from the top of a doorway. Take a look at this nightmarish monstrosity. Gotta say, guy in a costume or not, I do not like this, and I would not like running into it in the dark, in the day, inside, outside, just no thank you all around. This video was posted to TikTok by Fastby Tess Horror with a description reading, Muslim traveler finds himself face to face with a monstrous creature lurking in the shadows. We don't have a lot of context for this footage, just that the guy behind the camera supposedly came across this gargoyle looking thing leering down at him from a ledge, and the man, completely shaken and petrified, started praying, and you can hear the terror in his voice as he does so. I find this thing deeply unsettling. This is what I kind of picture a genuine demonic creature looking like, although a lot of commenters say it looks like Frank from Donnie Darko, which, I mean, you know what, hey, that doesn't take anything away from it, still makes this creepy as hell. A man named Cody had started noticing odd things going on in his house one day, so he pulled out his phone and started recording. He'd noticed the light in the fridge and bathroom flickering. He also heard water running, so he peeked around the corner of the bathroom and, to his complete shock and confusion, found that the bathroom sink was on. And when a door behind him suddenly shut on its own, he really got freaked out and decided to step outside. He rang up his girlfriend, who urged him to just stay out of the house. Either there was an intruder or something else was going on, but none of it could be good. But Cody went back in to keep filming anyway, and suddenly found the place was a complete mess. Chairs had been knocked over, cupboards were open, so he immediately changed his mind and rightfully left the house again. And 2 hours later, he went back in, took a look in every single room to see if there's anyone there. He didn't find anything. That is, until he went back and looked at the footage that he'd taken later on. While he'd been filming his kitchen after having come back into the house that first time, he'd briefly panned across to his daughter's doorway. But while watching the footage back, he noticed something in the top right-hand corner, so he paused and zoomed in, revealing this. A ghostly looking face peering out from above the doorway. This chilled him to the bone, and it's easy to see why. There are some very dubious ghost videos and pictures out there, blurry, often hard to make out, but this looks legitimately terrifying. It's clearly a face, but it does not look human. Speaking of creepy as hell, be glad you don't live in the same building as this next guy. In this short clip, we see a man filming a staircase, lit up by the light from his phone. On the stairs is a man rushing up to the camera. Clearly his intentions aren't good. Either he's just trying to freak out our cameraman, or he's got something worse in mind. Luckily, the cameraman manages to shut the door before the crazed guy manages to get too close, but then, for whatever reason, he decides to open the door back up again to see if the dude's still there, I guess, and it doesn't look like it at first. You know, all we see is the dark, empty stairwell, but in true horror movie fashion, just as the camera peeks around the corner, we get this. It's immediately clear that there is something very wrong with this guy's eyes. Was this dude on something? Is the video just a hoax? Or was this man possessed by a demon or a djinn? Talk about a demon realizing they're being filmed. This thing is right up close, staring directly into this person's car. Take a look. Would you just sit there continuing to film this, or would you be tearing out of there? I know what camp I'm in. I'd be gone. Those are not the eyes of someone who needs directions or wants to be friendly in any way. Those are the eyes of someone whose mouth is about to stretch 3 times its normal size and devour your face in a single chomp. She's almost still as a statue, completely unblinking, which is really what makes the whole thing so downright chilling. But take note of her eyes, just ever so slightly shifting to the person behind the camera. It's such a slight little movement, but just sends shivers up your spine. The fact that she looks so dead-eyed, just staring off into the distance, and then slowly switches to look right down the barrel of the camera, right at us as the viewers, it's just hard not to avert your eyes a little bit. The surveillance camera ghoul. This footage was taken by a man named Mario Lara, who captured something deeply harrowing on camera in his store in Mexico. Take a look. Leading up to this video, Lara had begun to notice strange things going on in his store. He'd arrive in the morning to find things out of place, especially a piñata which would repeatedly be found on the floor, and one morning it was found in a totally different spot than he'd left it the previous night. He started to think someone was sneaking into the shop after closing and messing with things, so he set up a security camera. One night he gets an alert on his phone. The camera was detecting motion. The last thing he was expecting to see, though, was this ghoulish figure poking out from a pile of piñatas. It's hard to make that sentence sound ominous. I mean, piñatas, they're just so joyous. Well, unfortunately for Mario, though, things weren't joyous in the shop. Things just continued getting worse. His security camera continued picking up odd footage at night, like piñatas spinning around on their own. One of his power drills, which was sitting on the floor, seemingly turned on by itself one day, nearly hitting his foot. It seemed like whatever this entity was, it was not looking to be friendly, despite being surrounded by festive piñatas. This next video comes from a woman named Mandy Mary, who spotted something incredibly creepy on camera. Take a look at this. Did you catch that? It happens very fast, but as the lights flicker, you can spot what looks to be this shadowy figure peering out from the doorway, and it's definitely not there when the lights are on. Now, why did the lights flicker? Well, Mandy's son had flicked them himself. Mandy wrote in the description of the video, "This video is from my back house. My son was behind me when I recorded this. We were creeped out as we've seen a dark figure back there many times. So thought it would be a good idea to record there at night. We videotaped and he tried to spook me by flicking the light. The moment he turned off the light, you could see the outside light from the window. Within this outside light, you can see a dark shadow figure standing there. This wasn't us. Some of the people I've shown this to said, 'It's your son.' I said, 'No way. He was right behind me, and that shadow figure was in the middle of the window, reflection, not the door we were at. So no way it was him. Every night I see dark shadows walking back and forth, making my backlight sensor flip on and off. Also, about a month ago, something shook my door so hard it shook my entire hallway.' Speaking of hallways, this next person was attacked on camera by what appears to be some invisible force in the hallway. Take a look. Yeah, damn right, turn around and go back where you came. Whoever this guy was visiting, whatever plans he had at the end of that hallway, they were crossed off his list as soon as he hit the ground. What in the hell happened there? This CCTV security camera footage was taken in what looks to be the hallway of some sort of facility, like a doctor's office. Could also be an apartment, but it's hard to tell. You'll notice that before the guy even falls down and gets dragged, this black shadowy shape starts to form, and once it drags the guy a few feet down the hall, it fades back away, releasing the man, who rightly gets up and books it back down the hall. This next one has to be one of my favorite spooky internet videos. Some have compared this creepy woman to a witch, others have said it may be a djinn. Whatever she is though, she's downright creepy, and this just makes for a very unsettling watch. The video is apparently shot in Saudi Arabia. It shows a man driving on a narrow, empty road. As he's driving, we can clearly spot this strange, hunched figure in the distance. The figure moves in this really unnatural way, hobbling around. It's also hard to make out where its head is because it's all hunched. It just looks completely wrong. And the man filming thinks so too, because you can clearly hear how terrified he is. He sounds completely panicked, even on the verge of tears. Honestly, his reaction is kind of what makes the video. At one point he tries to reverse away from the figure, but the road is so narrow and winding that he can't move very quickly, and the witch-like figure just keeps gaining on him, waddling towards the car with that unsettling gait, getting closer and closer, but never deciding to get right up close. It's like she's just toying with him. Unless you've been hiding under a rock for the past couple years, which based on some of the videos on this list, I can understand why you would, you've probably heard of the Serbian dancing lady craze. People coming across lone women dancing in the street late at night for seemingly no reason. Take a look at this. Sorry, not sorry. That one gets you? Look, it's spooky season now. You gotta be ready for this sort of thing. Gotta be on your toes. All right, well, I don't think it gets any more classically demonic looking than this image here. The photo shows a large winged figure. It was taken in Phoenix, Arizona by a man named Richard Christensen in 2017. He wasn't sure what he captured, and neither was anyone else. Some people think it looks like a Mothman, others think it might look like an angel, or, of course, the opposite. But, like everything on this list, what do you think? Let us know down below. So just what in the hell are we looking at here? I don't know, but I can say for sure that I don't like it. They look like the ghost girl from Ringu poking her head out of the water. They're pale with long black hair covering most of their faces, if these even are faces we're looking at here. It's hard to tell. You'll also notice they seem to have glowing, reflective eyes. So the story behind this clip is that back in April of this year, a trail cam was set up right at the edge of a river where locals had been experiencing strange things, telling stories of dark spirits lurking in the water. Now, as for where the footage comes from, I've seen comments saying it's a river called Namor Ong. I tried to look up Namor Ong and I can't find any info on that place, so please let me know in the comments if you know anything about that or if Namor Ong even exists at all. Anyway, a pretty spooky clip. This next piece of trail cam footage comes from a TikToker named The Most Mandy, who posted this eerie footage captured by the security camera outside her home in the Appalachian Mountains. So we see a figure in a long white robe moving across her property, at one point saying, "Let me in this very craggly, almost witch-like voice. She gets closer and closer to the house until the motion sensors go off and she retreats back into the shadows. Here's another clip taken by a camera at another part of the house. We can hear the woman better in this clip, not that we really want to. Well, you know what? She sold me. I'd have let her in. I mean, how could anyone turn down such a soothing, friendly voice like that? Back in June, a hunter placed a trail camera in the woods expecting to pick up animals. Instead, he captured this odd scene. At about 2 a.m., a figure wearing what looks like a long dress steps out from the shadows and passes the camera. Who was this person and what were they doing in the middle of the woods at 2 in the morning? Well, they were running from someone or something. As the video continues, we see a dark mass crawl out of the depths of the thicket. As the thing gets closer, we notice it's crawling. It looks like it has long dark hair and reflective eyes. The rest of its face is hard to make out, but there's something not quite right about whatever this thing is. This next video is also captured by a trail cam in the Appalachian Mountains. It was posted by Elizabeth Maynard 98, who captured something incredibly unsettling moving across her property, and there were a pair of them. When they first pass by, it's hard to make out what these things are, but they're clearly walking on all fours. They move off camera before turning around and passing the camera again, this time walking on their hind legs, looking much more humanoid, but no less disturbing. They're incredibly thin with glowing eyes and look to be hairless, almost like your classic stereotypical alien. They also walk with this very unnatural gait, taking these itty-bitty little steps, almost like they're not used to walking upright. Some commenters also think these creatures look like rakes, skinwalkers, or possible wendigos, but what do you all think? This is a very strange post from about 9 months back by Reddit user What Did You Do, Ray?, who was seeking out help about the odd behavior he was experiencing with his trail camera, writing, "This trail cam is at a Christmas tree farm in Bedford, Pennsylvania. There are no buildings, lights, or structures in the area at all where this cam is. Every night for the past 2 months, my cam takes a picture at exactly 12:05 and 1 second in the AM. There is never anything in the pics. No deer, squirrels, foxes, etc. Recently, the pictures have shown a red light being cast across the top of the trees. One pic shows the red light to be extremely bright and def in a circle around the trees. And then there is the picture from March 5th of 2024 that shows 2 blurs, one directly above one of the trees and a very similar blur to the right on the ground just off the road. The odder thing is that this picture's timestamp is at 12:05 and 2 seconds. It's the only picture in the entire series of pics from the past 2 months that was taken 1 second later. Now, he also posted in the comments later that he'd switched the camera to take video instead of pictures at one point, and that the camera would successfully take video at any other time of day except 12:05 a.m., where it wouldn't take video when the sensor went off at that time, only taking a picture. Definitely strange. So the question is, what's causing this camera to go off? Well, something was hovering above the trees, casting a red light at the exact same time of night every night for 2 months. So this image was posted to Reddit by user PHFM 4 months ago, with the caption reading, "Friend's trail cam in North Carolina." Now, I would be pretty alarmed knowing this thing was lurking around in the dark anywhere near me. The immediate thought is, well, that doesn't look right. This is a hairy creature standing on 2 legs, must be Bigfoot. Well, probably not. I mean, this could easily be a black bear. Bears do stand on their hind legs, and it could be hunching over, which is why you can't see its head, but even still, there's just something creepy about this image. It just looks oddly human to me. It's the best way I can describe it. What do you think, though? Bear, Bigfoot, werewolf, skinwalker, and mid-transformation? Let us know in the comments. Back in July of this year, the Instagram account Lower Florida Bucks posted this series of images here with the description reading, "I've had some strange trail cam pics sent in through the years, but these from Roberts Lowell might just take the cake." He got pics of this person/creature on 2 separate cameras and swears they're legit. He also said these were taken on a property 12 miles from the nearest town. What do y'all make of it? And that's a very good question. What do you make of whatever this is? It's hard to make anything out because of how blurry the figure is. Clearly it was darting around at a good speed. I can say this though, it doesn't look human, at least not exactly. This next Reddit post is from 2 months back. JT245 writes, "Hello. After looking at some old photos from a trail camera, I noticed a silhouette in the background and a white spot on the second photo. My brother was alone and has no explanation. What are your theories?" Now, take a real close look at these images and see if you can spot anything. It's hard to notice at first, but look at the middle right-hand side of the first image. We'll zoom in and circle it for you. Okay, so it's a shape that sort of has a form you might be able to recognize as a person, maybe. This wouldn't be all that strange on its own, but now take another look at the second picture. Whatever that shape is, it isn't there anymore. Now, I couldn't spot the white spot the uploader described in the second picture, but if you can find it, let us know down in the comments. But that figure is kind of strange. It's pretty small. Some people have said it looks like almost maybe it could be a fae. I don't know. So this next story may be not a creature captured on trail cam, but it's equally, if not more disturbing. This woman here was captured on a deer cam in the woods, going back and forth in the dark for hours, barefoot. The owner of the property was pretty alarmed when he saw the images, making a post online about it, reading, "Does anyone recognize this girl/woman? She appeared on my trail camera in July of this year at 5 a.m. She was barefoot and appears to be running. She isn't in any trouble with me, just curious who she is, what she was doing, and if she's okay. If you recognize her, please message me. I've been baffled by this for a month, mainly because the woods can be tough walking with boots. I contacted police as soon as I discovered the photos. They were baffled as well." Now, some commenters say she may just have been on a run, but apparently there are no trails nearby, and the area she was running in has a thicket that the property owner's dog won't even go through. It's just thick vegetation. No one would be wandering through there, especially at night barefoot. So it's just all very strange and kind of concerning. At the time of this recording, Redditor Apart Operation 329 just made this post a little over a week ago with the caption, "Humanoid found on trail cam." They went on to write, "My friend sent this to our group chat a while back. I don't know why I just now bothered to post it, but I wanted to know if anyone here could identify this thing. We can't tell if it's a person or not. Not sure if this is the right sub to put this in, but any help is appreciated." Now, what we see here is immediately off-putting. To me, this thing looks way too strange and thin to be human, but a lot of commenters mention that the figure does look like a human woman, just a really thin woman who probably isn't okay. It looks like she may have wounds on parts of her body, and she's clearly emaciated. Some think this person may have needed help and that the uploader should contact the police, but I don't know what good that will really do. Personally, it's hard to make anything out from this image, and it's from 2022. So this was someone in distress. I just hope they made it home okay. TikToker LGAP posted a video with the caption, "Help me, there is something in my house." And based on this footage, I'd be inclined to believe him. Take a look. Yeah, this is one of my worst nightmares. Hearing a noise in the middle of the night, walking into the living room only to spot a dark shape in the corner, of course, hoping it's just your eyes playing tricks on you. I mean, surely there's not really someone there. As soon as I flick on the lights, I'll find out it's just a coat I left there earlier, something like that. But then you flick on the light and whatever the thing was just vanishes. Now, I can't decide if a shadowy figure disappearing is worse than something still standing there when the lights come on. At least if it was still there, I wouldn't feel like I was losing my mind. Only way things could possibly get worse though is if you plucked up the courage to flick the lights off again and the mysterious shadowy entity was standing exactly where it was before, which is exactly what happens in the video. Next up, we have a video from a now deleted Reddit user who spotted something peeking out at him while filming in an abandoned hospital ward somewhere in California. This is what he saw. Take a look. According to the original uploader who did maintenance work at the hospital, a security guard had told him that he'd kept seeing things while patrolling the ward at night and wanted someone else to see because he thought he was losing his mind. The guard suggested the Redditor film to see if he could pick anything up, and the uploader agreed. He didn't realize what his camera had picked up until he got home later and watched the footage back. When he saw it, his heart dropped, describing the realization of what he'd captured as the creepiest thing he'd ever seen. Now, people have commented saying that the figure just seems too dark. The hallway is bright enough that you'd think it would cast enough light on the figure to make out some features, but instead it appears as this featureless black mass. A creepy video for sure, and not the last hospital entity we have on the list. Just what did this man happen to spot in an abandoned hospital in Honduras? That does not look human. It almost looks like the ghost of E.T. or something to me, doesn't it? It doesn't even look like a human figure. Whatever it is though, it's creepy. There's an interesting backstory here as well. Supposedly strange things have been known to go on at this hospital. Lights will turn on and off patients' rooms and people will hear unexplained things at night. And why? Well, some believe that the hospital is haunted by the spirit of a doctor who took their own life at the hospital. Could this strange figure be the ghost of this doctor, or is this one just a hoax? Up next, we have yet another hospital entity. Take a look at the doors behind the doctor here. So that is not a trick of the camera or the light. Someone or something very clearly passes by the door. Now, your first thought is probably, well, yeah, it's just a person, but watch what happens next. The cameraman is clearly shocked by what he's just seen. There's probably not meant to be anyone in that room, so he walks in to investigate, and what does he see? Nothing. It's an empty room, aside from the equipment anyway, and there doesn't appear to be any other exit. What we do see is a piece of equipment rolling as if someone has just bumped it as they walked by. Now, there are a few things I really like about this video. First of all, it's 16 years old, so it has that low quality video spook factor to it. Not too thrilled about 2008 being 16 years ago. That's kind of scarier than the video itself, but anyway. Commenters have also pointed out how unnatural this mysterious figure is, not just because of how dark it is, but look at how it moves. It almost looks like it glides past the door rather than walking. It doesn't have like the bounce you have with normal steps. On top of that, it seems to glide by at a pretty good speed. What are your thoughts on this one? Let me know down below. This next clip was uploaded to YouTube by Joey Nolan. Take a look. A strange piece of footage indeed. Some sort of semi-translucent shape seems to be moving around at the top of the stairs. According to the uploader, the footage was captured on his home security camera on August 8th, 2019 at 12:54 a.m. Whatever it is, it seems to change shape throughout. At first, it almost looks like a small human figure walking out from the shadows of the kitchen before stopping at the top of the stairs. Then it almost looks like two floating orbs. Once again, I turn to you though. What do you all think of this one? A hoax, a piece of dust, or does it just look too uncanny to be faked? You know what always creeps me out? Chairs moving on their own. Luckily, I've never seen this happen in person myself, but the idea of it has always gotten under my skin. It's a horror trope that just always works. Reddit user the Dotty Dot posted this piece of footage taken at an elementary school after closing. Take a look at this. Now, on its own, the video ain't much. I mean, something like this could have easily been faked, but there is a story to go along with it as well. The Dottie Dot wrote, "My mom has worked for the school system for 28 years. The elementary school she worked at is said to be haunted, but she never mentioned seeing anything. She retired this year, but obviously she's still friends with all the staff. One of her close friends works there as a custodian and was cleaning up after hours and she heard a noise. She went into this room to check it out and saw this chair doing this. It kept going, so she started recording it. I have no idea how long it went on. My mom sent it to me." A Reddit user by the name of ADRN916 posted this eerie image here with the caption, "Trail cam photo captured after lake was dug. Ghost hunter type team called them tree people." It's definitely an odd image. It almost looks like two ghostly figures emanating from a pair of trees or like partially fused with them, hence the name tree people. Also kind of looks like two people floating in midair. Now, background info on this is pretty scarce, but the uploader did post this image as well. Now we see two figures, possibly the same ones in the first image, running past the camera. The low quality could explain their kind of ghostly look, but there's still something eerie about the image. And according to the uploader, the property, which they don't own, the image comes from a friend of theirs, is pretty secluded. So even if these figures aren't paranormal, it's strange for people to just be roaming around the area. Apparently the property owner and his family have also reported hearing strange, inhuman screams at night. Take a look at this image of an abandoned asylum in Wales. Notice anything odd? Take a look at the top window in the middle. Here's a even closer look. Just what the hell is that? Well, the man who snapped the picture, Adam Smith, said he was walking past the abandoned Brecon and Radnor Lunatic Asylum when he spotted something glaring down at him from one of the second floor windows. In 2016, when the photo was taken, the asylum had been abandoned for over 15 years. So what was this thing? A squatter or something else? Interestingly, the asylum had also been used as a prisoner of war camp during World War II. An abandoned asylum and former prisoner of war camp definitely sets the stage for a haunting or two, making this ghoulish face seem a lot more unsettling. Reddit user Pink Cuppa posted this eerie family photo, writing, "This one's from my family. I don't really believe in ghosts, but this one gets me. The apparition, faintly visible over the deceased grandma, is a husband of the dead wife. The husband had already been dead for 5+ years. This photo was taken in central Poland roughly 20 years ago. My girlfriend is telling me this is just a trick of an old camera, but I highly doubt it. The apparition was already dead for at least 5 years. There are multiple pictures, some of which have been burned in horror of the apparition." It's a freaky image for sure, but a lot of commenters think this is a case of double exposure, and while that's most likely the case, it doesn't really take away from the creepiness to me. I mean, double exposure or not, the deceased husband still showed up in a photograph of his widowed wife's dead body. That's just weird. Was this just a coincidence, or had the husband's spirit somehow influenced the events that led up to a particularly freaky double exposure? Reddit user Kara Forever 2084 had been helping a friend move when this video was captured on his ring cam. According to the uploader, the shadowy figure doesn't look like anyone who was there. He writes, "In December of 2020, my wife and I were helping a friend unload stuff from his truck into the house. As we wound down, we were catching up and joking around. My friend's phone went off. He checked it, and it was a notification from his ring cam, which was mounted on the middle of the window of the front door. It said there was a motion detected, and it sent him this vid. We were the only people there, and we were just outside the door. None of us saw anything with the naked eye."
Starting off in our number 10 spot, we have Belphegor. Belphegor is a fallen angel, and after his fall from heaven, he has now become the demon lord, presiding over the sin of sloth. It is said that as Belphegor served as a lieutenant from hell, he was sent to Earth on a mission by Satan. While he was on Earth, he grew quite fond of Paris, France, and it is said that because of this affinity, he now lurks deep within the catacombs under the city. Belphegor can be invoked by mortals who are wishing to find fame and wealth, usually through as little effort as possible. But these wishes are of course doomed to fail because of the demon's true mission to lure the dreamers into sloth. Through the failure of whatever was provided to the dreamer by Belphegor, he then draws them into procrastination and idle dreams daydreaming rather than active production, which then condemns them to a life of failure. Belphegor is also recognized as one of the 7 great kings who rule over hell. In our number 9 spot today we have Burstook. Burstook is a Wendish evil god of the forest and is known for his trickery. He is often described as being half man and half goat, but there are some sources which claim he is actually all shadow and doesn't even have a human form at all, and instead is more a spirit of the woods. So here's what dark thing he's got going on. He likes to trick wanderers of the forest into getting lost. Yep, literally just a full-on nightmare. He hangs out in the dark depths of the forest waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Once a wanderer stumbles across his path, he'll play tricks where he changes the path in the woods, or he'll whisper in their ears to frighten them, and he'll lay branches in their way so that they'll trip and fall, and he does this all simply because he just enjoys the suffering of others. Sounds pretty evil to me. In our number 8 spot today we have Beelzebub. Beelzebub is a former seraph who turned into a high-ranking demon. He is one of the princes of hell and also oversees the Order of the Fly. He, Satan, and Lucifer form the triarchy of hell, which makes him one of the supreme monarchs of the underworld. As a seraphim, he was under the archangel Gabriel, but he was one of the very first angels to fall. He is often confused with Satan, and while the two names can technically be interchanged, they're two separate entities, and in some writings, they even disagree at times. He is associated with pride and gluttony, and he has also been held responsible for demonic possessions throughout the years. Unfortunately, flies are a very important thing for him, as it is said that he can take the form of flies. Now his main job is to rule over the fallen angels as well as the demons that are originally from hell. In our number 7 spot today we have Lilith. Lilith is a demon goddess who appears a lot in mythology. Her dark origins start in Sumerian and Babylonian demonology, and she is the picture of the beautiful maiden with a dark spirit. Legend says once she chose a lover, she would never let him go and would give nothing in return. Some people believe that Lilith was actually the first wife of Adam and that the two were created equal, but Adam didn't like that she wasn't obedient to him, so he abandoned her, and this is when God made Eve. This is what is rumored to have turned Lilith into a snake, which then tempted Eve into the apple. After Adam and Eve were then banished from the Garden of Eden, Lilith turned into a demon goddess and vowed to get her revenge on all men. In our number 6 spot today we have Baal. Baal is ranked as the first of the Ars Goetia, which I had to look up because I am not really familiar with a lot of demons and demonology works. If you're like me and aren't exactly up to date on this, as explained by the demonicparadisefandom.com, quote, the Ars Goetia, also known as the 72 Pillars, is a group comprised of 72 demons with exemplary strength and their own legions. They are listed in the grimoire Lesser Key of Solomon. Okay. Cool. So Baal is the first on that list, and he is the principal king of hell. It is said that he governs somewhere from 66 to 250 legions of demons and spirits, so he's clearly a workaholic. In grimoire tradition, it is said that Baal appears in the form of a man, a cat, a toad, or different combinations of those, with the appearance of a king or soldier, but with the heads of these creatures, and on a set of spider legs. So I'm just saying, the guy's not easy to miss. I feel like it's pretty clear. In our number 5 spot today we have Asmodeus. Asmodeus is the king of demon and earthly spirits and is referred to as one of the 7 princes of hell. He also represents one of the 7 deadly sins, lust. Before becoming a demon in his former life, he was an angel who was known as Asmodel, the angel of April and patience who rules the zodiac sign Taurus. But of course, we're here to talk about his demon form, which is said to appear either as a ruthless, brutal monster or as a kind of mischievous demon that is playful and quick thinking. Honestly, I'm not sure which form would be worse to encounter. The monster would be scary, but a little annoying demon would also be the worst. For the most terrifying exit I've ever heard of, it is said that Asmodeus will cut himself into pieces and immediately after disappear. In our number 4 spot today we have Azazel. Azazel is one of the chief governors of the Grigori, which is a group of fallen angels who married female mortals, which then produced the Nephilim, which are these scary giant creatures that ate mortals. In the beginning, Azazel started as an eater of sins, but the more sins he consumed, the hungrier he became, and this led to him not being satiated by the sins he was receiving. The reason he was cast from heaven is because he taught men how to make swords, knives, shields, and breastplates plates, which then led to humans being corrupted and thinking that they were invincible. It is said that the humans went so far that they were planning to raid heaven, and this is when God told Raphael to bind Azazel's hands and feet, open up a hole in the desert, and toss him in, casting him into darkness. This worked, and for a long time Azazel remained in prison. It was so bad that the jagged rocks near him tore his physical body away, and this left him as a mass of darkness covered in mouths and eyes. Later freed by Lucifer, he went on to join the demons in hell. In our number 3 spot today we have Amen. It's weird, she used to work here. Different Amen. Amen is the great Marquis of Hell, and he is the 7th of the demons in the Ars Goetia. It is said that he is in charge of governing 40 different legions of demons, but his favorite thing to do with humans is making them fall in love with each other. He is also known to settle debates, and you might be sitting there thinking that this guy actually sounds pretty cool and nice, but despite all of these cool and nice things he enjoys, he is anything but nice. Just like he can make people fall in love, he can also do the exact opposite as well. He can cause people to turn against each other and can even will someone to harm the innocent, which is just terrifying. To make that thought slightly less horrifying, it is said that he usually doesn't do this for no reason, and it tends to only happen when he is attacked or if someone is standing in his way of completing a mission. Still not good, but I suppose that's better than just random acts of violence. It is said that Amen appears as a wolf with a snake's tail and that he possesses the ability to breathe fire. Or he might appear as a man with dog teeth who is inside of a raven. I don't know. Ask him about that, not me. In our number 2 spot today we have Hades. We are not talking about the Unreal game, instead we are talking about the dad that you gotta fight in it. Hades is the king of the underworld and the god of the dead, and I'm not sure if it gets any darker than that. It was believed that just by speaking his name he would have the power to bring you to the underworld, so people tried to avoid his name like it was Voldemort. Hades was sure to never let any souls that entered the underworld escape, and he would punish anyone who tried, or anyone who tried to save someone in the underworld. One of his darkest myths is in reference to the time he kidnapped Persephone. He opened up the earth where she was picking flowers and he kept her in the underworld. Persephone's mother, Demeter, was of course really unhappy about this and did everything she could to get her back. Hades finally agreed to let her go, but of course there's always a twist with these guys. He gives her a pomegranate seed as a parting gift, which she eats. Little does she know, if you eat food from the underworld, it binds you to it. So now she is bound to Hades, and basically this story ends off with her being allowed to live a few months of the year on Earth, but the rest of the time she's stuck in the underworld. So yeah, Hades is just out there kidnapping people. Really uncool. In our number 1 spot today we have Lamashtu. Lamashtu is a demon, monster, malevolent goddess or demigoddess who comes from Mesopotamian mythology, and she certainly is terrible. Her name means she who erases, and this is because she would prey on women during childbirth and wait for them to be breastfeeding their new baby so she could kidnap the newborn and eat its flesh. I honestly don't know if it gets any darker than that. She was also known to disturb sleep and cause nightmares, as one of her less worse qualities is that she would also be known to harm the environment, bound the muscle of men, and would bring sickness and disease. Mothers who were expecting children would wear an amulet that depicted her in order to protect their pregnancy from her. Sometimes people would even leave offerings to keep her appeased, which would always be small, feminine objects. There are some cultures where Lamashtu was regarded as a guardian, but I'm sure they didn't hear the whole eating babies thing, or else I feel like they might have changed their minds.
And we're starting off with a story shared to Reddit from user RavenShadow2013. Love that name. Here they describe an encounter they had with a dark entity they refer to as the Blue Lady. My oldest sister used to live in a rental that, while babysitting my sister and I, would tell us to stay away from the basement door. One day my sister's curiosity got the better of her and she talked me into opening the door. Standing at the top of the stairs was what we used to call a blue lady. I was 7ish, she was 5ish. Later on, our older sister told us that the blue lady would wander the house at night, humming some sort of nursery lullaby. So yeah, I don't know what it is about lullabies or just singing or humming in general, but there's something so unsettling about hearing something like that at night coming from somewhere in the house. Even if it is not even paranormal, just waking up to the sound of someone in your house humming Twinkle Twinkle Little Star themselves alone in the dark sends a bit of a shiver down my spine. Next up we have the hallway entity. Now, there's not a whole lot of info about the story surrounding this video. It's just a security camera piece of footage of some kind of ghostly attack taking place. We see a man walking down what looks to be an empty apartment hallway. You see this black, shadowy shape start to form, which sends the man falling to the floor before it starts dragging him down the hallway. Now, this video could totally be fake. I mean, it's not out of the question to pull off a hoax like this, but it is well done. And if it is real, it's probably one of the most compelling pieces of ghostly evidence in existence. Next, we have the closet entity. A TikToker by the name of DM Wesley posted several videos documenting his experiences with some sort of entity in his apartment. He had moved into the building in August of 2022 and began hearing a loud banging sound coming from his closet. In this video, the loud bangs are super aggressive. It sounds like someone is in the closet and ain't happy about being there. Our cameraman gets up, walks over to the closet, and abruptly opens it, only to reveal, of course, there's nothing there. It sounds like he's been through this on many occasions because he sounds more fed up than scared. I would definitely not have the courage to just swing the closet door open like that. If I'd heard a couple of knocks, sure, but loud, persistent banging like that, forget it. Next up, we have a story posted to Reddit by user Sal's Pizzeria. I wonder where this apartment story comes from. It's New York, in case you didn't guess. It goes as follows. I used to live in an old apartment and tried to shrug off all the creepy sounds and motions I thought I was experiencing. I'd dismiss everything as wind, creaky floors, creaky building, or something off in the distance. One day I heard a faint knock on my door. Opened the door, nobody there. No footsteps heard in the nearby staircase. There was no place for a person to hide. Other two apartments next to me had no residents. I was a little creeped out by it. Days later, I mentioned it to someone who lived a few floors below. She informed me that years before, a person had gone up to the apartment door, knocked, and then fell over, dead from a heart attack. It was believed that the man had chest pains and was seeking help, but all he could do was knock on the door. Every time there was a knock, even with people there waiting to enter, I got an uneasy feeling. Glad I'm not there anymore. I would be too. Sticking with the New York theme, we have the 14 West 10th Street apartment in New York City. This is said to be one of the most haunted apartment buildings in Manhattan. Constructed in the late 19th century, this building has quite the history. One of the most famous stories involves Mark Twain, who supposedly resided in the apartment and is said to haunt the premises. Some residents say they've seen his apparition moving throughout the building, and he did live there towards the end of his life, although he didn't actually die there. So if ghosts are a thing, I'm guessing it's the spirit of a different old man. There are said to be about 22 ghosts who reside there. For example, a lady in white. There's also, there's always a lady in white, isn't there? A kid accompanied by a gray cat, and the spirit of a young girl who died there at the hands of her father, former New York criminal defense attorney Joel Steinberg, just to name a few. At number 5, we have the Dakota apartment complex, also in New York City. Finishing construction in 1884, the building has attracted a number of tales about paranormal activity over the years. One of the most famous stories revolves around the death of John Lennon, who resided in the Dakota before his tragic death in 1980. Many claim to have seen Lennon's ghost wandering the halls of the apartment. Other reported sightings include a young boy in outdated clothing playing in the courtyard and a woman dressed in 19th century clothing on the building's rooftop. Residents have reported unexplained noises. Of course, objects are always moving on their own and feelings that there's someone there watching them. Aside from all the ghost stories, the building also just looks like it would be haunted. It's got that gothic architectural style, which definitely gives it a bit of an eerie kind of vibe. This story was posted to Reddit, again by user Tier1Clean, who describes a paranormal experience they had when they were young in their apartment in Atlanta, Georgia. One night I woke up in the middle of the night around 2:30 a.m. because I got thirsty and had to pee. As I step out into the hallway, I see what I thought to be my mom's boyfriend sitting on the sofa watching TV. I approached him to ask what he was watching and got no response. Then I got closer and said it again with a little more authority in my voice because, in my mind, it's very rude to ignore someone talking to you. When I was standing about 2 feet away, I felt off and noticed that I still couldn't see his face or body, even though the TV was on. I could only see a shadow silhouette. I froze because the air now felt heavy and it turned towards me. It let out a terrifying scream and flew down the hall towards the hall closet by my mom's room. I stood there in shock for about 20 seconds before I started crying and screaming. I woke up the entire apartment. My mom asked what happened and I told her. When I told her, the look on her face was not surprise, but a look of, so you've seen it too. She tells me and my siblings that she felt a man standing over her bed at night, breathing on her. The boyfriend said on one of his off days he was shaving in the mirror and saw the shadow of someone standing in the shower. The next morning we immediately went to the renter's office. My mom had me tell the guy what I saw, and she was saying stuff like, I've told you this apartment was weird and whatnot. She was very heated. The guy then tells my mom that 6 months before we moved in, that the previous guy living there was killed during a home invasion. They stuffed his body into that hall closet and he wasn't found until 2 weeks later by maintenance people because of the smell of his body. Next up, we have the ghost caught on live stream. This next video is posted to YouTube by J-Rob and is a segment from a live stream. Things were totally normal until the group spotted something on one of their cameras. Pay close attention to Chris D's camera on the bottom left corner. Yeah, you could see this shadowy figure walk through the background, and it looks to have a humanoid form, but it does not look like a person. You see Chris kind of look behind him too after the thing moves by, as if he felt something swoosh by him. Clearly looks confused and freaked out. And then one of the friends, Junebug, is immediately like, was that a ghost? It's worth watching the full clip because they replay it and their reactions are pretty entertaining. Now, technology isn't perfect, especially on webcams, and there's low lighting. It can cause glitches and weird illusions, but I gotta admit, I'd be pretty freaked out if I played back a live stream and saw some shadowy mass moving across my screen, especially because he felt it move. It wasn't just the camera acting up. Coming in at number 2, we have another story posted to Reddit by user KDKDKDKDS. It goes as follows. I lived in a basement apartment in Astoria that had a regular haunting. Apparently my ex swore she saw ghosts and would see an older man wandering around the back door, which opened to the back garden late at night. Most of the time he ignored her, but one night she woke up to him staring at her from the edge of the bed. She started to freak out and walked over to the back door and stood near it, then disappeared. When we woke up the next day, it turns out I had left the door unlocked. Anyway, later I heard that an older man had died there right before I moved in and no one found him for weeks. So I guess that was him. The other thing that happened there was that right after I moved in, there was a terrible car accident that killed a female cab driver and a young woman who lived on the street. Some a-hole T-boned the cab as the younger one was getting out and she and the driver died. Anyway, same ex woke up in the middle of the night and she saw 2 faces near the ceiling glowing so you could see them in the darkness, looking sad. Then they vanished. We only learned about the accident when we went outside to get breakfast. She recognized the faces of the victims after seeing them on the news. And finally, I'm gonna tell my personal story now. So when I was living with this girl I was dating at the time, we'd have weird experiences in the apartment. Xbox would turn on and then turn off on its own on occasion. That happened a number of times. She would also hear loud banging sounds in the house occasionally. One time I was there and I was in the room and she was in the bathroom and she heard a loud bang coming from upstairs. Mind you, we're on the top floor, no one lives up there. And 3 pictures just fell off the wall and landed in like this perfect stack. I remember walking in and being like, oh, damn, they're like stacked up, which it could be a coincidence, but that's pretty weird. One of the other strange things, one day I just get a text from her. She'd been out, comes back in the apartment and sees a pan, like a cooking pan, just sitting in the middle of the kitchen, perfectly placed. And I remember being pretty confused about it. I was like, okay, well, did you have it sitting out? Did it fall? Nope, apparently it was in the cupboard. Somehow it just managed to get out, and none of the cupboard doors were open either. That's the other strange part. Now the weirdest thing okay? We had this pillow that sat on the couch. It had a band logo on it, so it was very recognizable. It was one of our favorite pillows. One day, this thing just goes missing. We looked everywhere for that thing. I thought maybe she took it down with her in the laundry or something like that. It got lost in the laundry room, but that wasn't the case. She definitely didn't take it. We looked everywhere, under the couch, every nook and cranny of that apartment. And I was like, damn it. We'd bring it up occasionally, like, damn, I missed that pillow. Really good pillow. Now, months go by, like 2 or 3 months, okay? And I get a text from her with a picture. She's like, look what showed up. She had walked back in the apartment. She was out doing something, and there's the pillow sitting on the couch, like right where it would have been. And I was like, what? Now, here's the thing. Is the apartment haunted? I don't know. I don't really believe in hauntings specifically, but what's the other explanation? Well, someone came into the apartment, took the pillow out, fiddled with stuff, and then brought it back 3 months later. Like, that doesn't make me feel any better. I don't know. What's worse, a ghost or someone just walking into the apartment and doing God knows what?
Starting off this countdown, we have the scary last footage.
Ta så åpne opp bagasjerommet.
This footage was filmed in 2006 and features 2 young guys driving along a dark road at night. At one point, they decided to make a shortcut through the forest, and that's when things start to get strange. What's worse is that this is the last footage ever taken of them. It showcases their final moments, as they were never seen again. After driving for a while, they decided to get out of the car and walk around the woods. That's when they hear some weird sounds in the distance. While we never get a clear shot of this animal, it sounds like a goat or a pig. The final moments of the video show the beast chasing them as they try to get back to their car. In our 9th spot today, we have the tape glitch. So according to Joaquin Baldwin on YouTube, in 1994 he brought his Sony VHS-C camcorder with him when he went to go visit his cousins. When he went to convert the VHS footage to digital, he was completely shocked at what he found. The footage showed stuff that he had not recorded. The video starts off with what sounds like someone screaming, and continues to show weird clips that he doesn't remember. It left him, his family, and the viewers completely confused and unsettled. In our 8th spot today, we have The Creature.
Ascolta. Mi sento no?
This is footage of what appears to be a strange creature found in a Spanish forest in 2006. The 2 men in the video are seen entering a forest outside of the town of Campdevànol at night. As they get deeper and deeper into the woods, they come across some large feathers. Eventually they pan over to what looks like a man huddled over with an open wound on his back. So some people say that this is a fallen angel, or maybe the feathers don't have anything to do with this creature and it's like an alien or something. I don't know. Whatever it is certainly very creepy. Coming in at number 7, we have the stalker footage.
I found this one in the grocery store. She spent a considerable amount of time picking up the finest of items. I admire someone who only wants to pick of the bunch. So I followed her home.
A couple of years ago, there was a very creepy channel called Mr. Peeper. His videos were all about him filming other people with his creepy commentary going on in the back. But as of 2019, his account and all the videos were taken down. However, they are still circling around on the web. This clip features Mr. Peeper filming one of his victims.
It is a miraculous thing to be able to watch the person you love undetected.
I literally could not sit through this whole video. It is so eerie. Like, he just finished saying that he followed this girl home and now he's already obsessed with her and in love. At one point he even manages to get inside of her home and he films it without her knowing.
That's it, I am not sleeping tonight. The scariest part is that the original uploader claimed that the segments of video found on his channel were discovered on SD cards, wrapped in plastic, and attached to the roof of a car that he found abandoned in the woods. Moving on to number 6, we have the witch. This video starts with a man driving along a dark road in the middle of the night in India. As he's driving along, he notices something in the distance and decides to stop and watch it. In the distance, you can see a figure in a long white dress with long dark hair carrying a walking stick. Soon the figure gets closer and closer. The man is clearly scared as this thing is coming straight to him. Soon, it's too late. Many people believe that what he encountered was a real witch. Others say that the man's screams sent shivers down their spine. To this day, we don't know what happened to the man or what that figure is that he saw. We are now at our 5th and halfway mark with Don't Look Behind You. In Southeast Asian mythology, a tuyul is a spirit said to be an undead infant made from black magic. Now, they are mostly harmless, but humans can use them to do dark deeds for them. In this video, 2 people are playing guitar and singing when all of a sudden this creature appears behind them. The scariest part is that only the cameraman appears to see it. The 2 musicians have no clue what's going on. What do you think? Could it really be a tuyul? Moving on to number 4, we have the found footage from Texas. Now this video is nightmare fuel. Creepy music plays in the background as we see the cameraman filming what appears to be a shower curtain. And then take a look at what happens. A pair of creepy long bony fingers slowly wrap around the shower curtain. That's not all though, it gets worse. The footage then cuts to a weird dark figure standing outside. The cameraman slowly gets closer to the figure and then it cuts away to another figure. This whole video is just comprised of random scary clips merged together. Some people have felt sick watching it. Others have gotten bad anxiety attacks and have passed out from getting so dizzy. Apparently, this footage was found in a box at an estate sale in Texas along with other pieces of junk. When the person played the tape, they were horrified. In our 3rd spot, we have Don't Do Drugs. Now, I really didn't know what to title this video. It seems like everyone took a bunch of drugs and then decided to film a weird commercial. It is so bizarre, it has had to have come from a parallel universe. Take a look for yourself.
This is tasty. Yeah.
What is it?
It goes on, and it's quite disturbing. Now, I did do some research on this video. Unfortunately, I was not able to figure out where it came from. So if you have any information about the video, please let me know. Anyways, this video gets so bizarre that it looks like it's trying to hypnotize you.
Did I say honey? Repeat my mantra.
Somebody please tell me what's going on. Was this a real commercial? Or a weird art project? Or is it from a parallel universe? Or all of the above? In our 2nd spot today we have Kirby the Clown.
Your dad keeps a gun in the house. Your dad's got a gun. Your dad's got a gun in the house. Guess who's got it now?
If you have a fear of clowns, then I sincerely apologize. I can't even explain what we just saw, but it is undeniably freaky. Footage of this clown can be found on the YouTube channel Kirby the Clown, and all the videos with this clown are pretty much just disturbing, if not more, like this one.
I've got a secret, secret, secret. I've got a secret. Your mom's already dead.
It always features the same clip of Kirby the Clown, but the voiceover changes every time. I'm telling you, this is the definition of a cursed video. And in our number 1 spot today, we have Lending You a Hand. This video starts off with the cameraman exploring a creepy old house, and he is visibly scared. At one point, hands start appearing from the ceiling, and they try to grab him. Then hands start appearing out of the walls and under the door to the room, all trying to get to him. The video ends with this demonic jump scare. Did it make you jump? It got me, because I was not expecting that. But how creepy is that? Imagine living in a parallel universe where arms can appear randomly and attack you.